I got to tell you, I was not expecting Isaac Mizrahi to call me an idiot and say I wasn't cool at all.
Did you ever see him on Project Runway? Those are like the only words he knows to call people.
Right, but like specifically about bridge.
I know. Fair
like
point.
the reason I'm not cool and the reason I'm a big old dummy is because of my lack of bridge playing. And to which I say, Isaac, if you got to know me, I think you'd like me.
Hi, Jillian Benzavalli.
Hi, Patrick Hines.
Hey, fam. Guess what? Obsessed Fest is upon us.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's September 31st to October 2nd, Columbus, Ohio. Listen, there's two ways to attend Obsessed Fest, right? There's the daytime programming, the Fest Pass, and then there's the evening live shows. Two separate tickets. Unless you bought early on, you bought a package or whatever. But right now, that's how you can do it. I want to tell you what's happening during the day.
Please do.
With the Fest Pass, you get access to the panels, the meet and greets, hobnobbing with all the podcasters that are going to be there. You get the karaoke. You get the Jillian's Taylor Swift sing-along.
Yeah, we're playing like Family Feud, but they're also going to be like serious true crimey panels, and then we're also going to have fun because that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, Robbie's going to do a whole Adnan Q&A. You and Bob Ruff are going to do a West Memphis 3 panel. There's going to be wrongful conviction stuff all over the place, and you get all of that with the festival pass. Then at night, there's the live show. So on Friday night, it's Obsessed with Disappeared and Scamfluencers.
Perfect.
Saturday night, it's Morbid, and then us.
Excellent.
Now listen, at the time of this recording, the Obsessed with Disappeared and the TCO shows are almost sold out. They may be sold out by the time you hear this. Still come to the festival if you want to meet us. We're going to be at the festival all day long, just taking pictures and saying hi and meeting you and your friends and doing whatever you want us to do.
Podcasters in the wild.
Exactly.
And there are some things still being planned.
That's
there are
true.
some surprises that might be coming your way. I don't know. I've said too much.
We haven't announced everything yet, but get your tickets now. It is going to sell out. It's going to be 2,200 of your true crime best friends. ObsessedFest.com. Get your texts.
Yeah, come see us. It's going to be great.
Also, join us on the Patreon if you want more Jillian and me.
Yeah, so that's where we do all ad-free episodes of these, our regular episodes, but also the long-form stuff. The Vow, Making a Murderer, The Jinx, The Staircase, Heaven's Gate, Murder Among the Mormons, that Gacy thing from Peacock.
The Gacy thing where he killed all those people on Peacock.
Yeah, I know. Puppet Master.
Yes. Also, you get ad-free versions of these episodes. All of those episodes are also ad-free.
I just said all that.
Okay, well, you also get the after-party tier.
It is very important.
Yeah, we do after-parties where we just, answer your questions. We do AMAs. We give you advice. There's a tier where we send you stuff in the mail.
Yeah. It's usually pretty gay, whatever comes in the mail.
We just sent out our Pride visors.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So gay.
So good.
That's it. Other than that, please just join the Facebook group. 50,000 of your true crime best friends. It's heavily moderated in a good way. It's a total safe space. People are always coming in there being like, I can't post this on my main page, but I need to tell somebody.
So many things start with that.
I know.
I'm only telling you, all 50,000 of you.
All right, girl, what are we talking about today?
We are covering dirty tricks on Showtime about the scandal that rocked the world of professional bridge competitive bridge.
Let me say this at the top. This is one of those that's not really about bridge, if that sounds boring to you. This is much more about the scandal of this guy, was he cheating? Is he a faker?
And it's Bridge, the card game.
Yes.
I feel like that should be, we should make that clear.
I promise, it can sound a little boring, I promise.
It's not.
I loved this documentary.
Okay, good, I'm glad.
For his generation, he may be the best bridge player in the world. He could have been, the next Michael Jordan of bridge. He was that good.
They just kept winning major events, him and his partner, on whatever team they played, almost to the point it was kind of unbelievable. Such a young pair, winning everything. They were at the top. They had everything you could want in bridge. They were making great money. They were winning all kinds of things. What more could you want?
I see people writing that he's a cheater, he's a cheater, he's a cheater. They put it inside my head.
It was all coming to a boil. There was too much cheating going on, and it had to stop. The shit had to hit the fan.
I didn't cheat, but I brought it on myself. Bridge is all my life. They took my baby, they took half of me. I cannot forgive for that.
So right at the top, we see this guy, and he's in some sort of infomercial, and he goes,
"Hello. You probably recognize my face."
I'm afraid that I don't, sir.
Okay, it's Omar Sharif.
Who is that?
From Lawrence of Arabia and Funny Girl. Everyone's talking about Funny Girl.
That's
Leah
true.
Michelle is not involved. This is the original Funny Girl. But his lower third says actor/bridge player.
I know.
People love bridge.
I just wrote, who the fuck are you? But hey, Isaac Mizrahi is here to talk some shit about you.
He's basically like, everyone who plays bridge is cool. If you think you're cool and you don't play bridge, untrue. Now, let me just say something. For the record, Isaac and everyone else who may be listening, Lady Paid at the 5, Isaac.
Yep.
I love a good card game. I love game night.
Yeah.
I really am. Like, bridge is something that I totally could have been into.
I
would like
you
to
and
get into
I
it.
never had a game night.
I know. We have to get into that.
We got to rectify that.
But it's going to get, like, real.
That's true. Listen, no one likes a rule better than Steve Tipton.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, Steve, I'm not going to play Scrabble. We're going to play cards. And I'm gonna take you for all you're worth. But I feel like bridge is one of those games where it's a little too complicated. If you didn't grow up playing it, maybe you're not really interested in it. But I would love to play it, Isaac.
Yeah.
And maybe you can come teach me, Isaac Mizrahi. Because I feel like I'd be into bridge, and I feel like I'd be kind of good at it.
Sure. I mean, and then we learn that there's like the casual world of bridge playing, and then there's Lotan's world.
Lotan Fisher.
So we got to meet this Lotan Fisher guy. As soon as they say his name, we see him standing like bare-chested in front of a mirror. Hey, Harry does not begin to describe him, but he's also pretty hot.
I cannot tell you how many times I have in my notes, it's bridge.
I know.
Lighten up.
As they're introducing him, Jillian, I have this note, right? It says, Jillian, are you fucking with me? Or is this a mockumentary?
I mean, it might as well be. It's for so many moments. It's like, are these people actually saying this?
It's so crazy. And Lotan is telling us, like, look.
You're earning a lot of money. You're living the life. You're traveling a lot. Hanging out with the richest people in the world. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett.
You're hobnobbing with, like, the richest people in the world, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, who I did not know who that was. And I was like, is he the cheeseburger in paradise guy?
First of all, no. Second, hobnobbing twice in the last 3 minutes. Are you okay?
I like that expression.
It's a great one. I'm just saying, I feel like hobnobbing is one of those words where you're like, I haven't heard that word in a while.
Totally.
I can't say that because I've heard it. I heard it 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. I Googled if Warren Buffett was the cheeseburger in paradise guy. No, that's Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
I was like, is there any relation?
How do you know? Warren, no, girl. Warren Buffett.
How do you know who he is?
How do you not know who he is?
You know what? Get out of here. I hate that when I have to ask you to leave the booth because of your fancy private school education.
All right, have fun doing this by yourself.
Okay,
Bye.
no. Come back. We need you.
Oh, okay. I'm here. Oh, wait. I love my job. Okay, great.
But, people have told Lotan his whole life, I could be a good programmer. I could be a good money manager. No, girl. I'm great at bridge. I want to do that.
So here's the Lotan story.
Yeah.
He came from a very athletic family, but he's like, I wasn't into the sports. And I'm like, okay, so I see where Lotan's coming from.
His dad was not happy about that. He goes to, like, bridge classes.
When I was about 11 years old, I saw 2 girls from my class. And I was asking them, where are you going? They told me, we're going to the mall, then we're going to a bridge lesson. One of them I really like, so I was trying to make some impression. I decided, okay, I want to go to the bridge lesson.
This girl he has a crush on decides to go to bridge class, and so he wants to go to bridge, like take bridge lessons when he's 11 years old.
Listeners in Israel, is this an Israel thing? That's where Lotan is growing up, and I've never heard of like an after-school bridge club.
Yeah, for kids?
For kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Lotan goes, and he's like immediately is amazing. Lotan is doing this thing under the table, which we learn is called counting your tricks. I don't know what that means,
right.
But apparently that's like something that really advanced bridge players do.
It takes 5 years to get to the point that Lotan is when he walks in the door as an 11-year-old.
Exactly. And the coach is here to be like, no, he just instinctively knew to do that. Like, I knew this kid was going to be top.
So the coach says
he's going to be hobnobbing with Bill Gates.
He's going to be hobnobbing with the cheeseburger in paradise guy. Also, cheeseburger in paradise. We have to stop. Jimmy Buffett needs to just sit down.
Cheeseburger in paradise.
So I'm so hungry. What I would do
every time
for like an Impossible Burger right now is I can't even say it out loud because I don't want it on the record. The things, the crimes I would commit for like an Impossible Burger Deluxe right now. Okay. I can't even. Okay. I'm sorry for the mouth sounds. Anyway, so the coach says to the father, your kid's a genius. Let me be his coach. And the dad's like, no son of mine is going to be a bridge player. He's going to play sports like a real boy. Sports like handball. And I'm like, all right. And the teacher shoots back. If he plays handball, he'll be the champion of the schoolyard. But if he plays bridge, he'll be champion of the world. To which the dad is like, all right, handball, schmanball.
Totally.
My kid's playing bridge.
And we see videos of these bridge lessons. These kids are really into it, I gotta say.
It doesn't look like a fun game
in
this like very strict bridge club after school.
No. So within 2 years of Lotan starting these bridge lessons at age 11, he's 13 years old. He wins the European Bridge Championship.
Yeah, but we hear from Ketty, who's his mother.
Yeah.
And she's like, none of this is really all that surprising to me because Lotan loves numbers and he has this really unusual and truly fascinating brain.
Okay, but let me say one thing here.
Yeah.
So we see a home video of him as a little kid, and the mother says, what's 1,000 3,999 plus 1,999. Without skipping a beat, he says 3,998. That blew my mind, right?
Okay.
I turned to Steve and I said, because I was like, Steve's like a math kid.
Sure.
I turned to Steve and I said, what's 1,999 plus 1,999? He goes, 3,998. Like, didn't miss a beat. And he's like, it's 2,000 plus 2,000 minus 2.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh,
shit.
It's like a trick.
Yeah.
Like, because I said to him, I'm like, well, we didn't see the mother say, what's 3,487 plus 2,865?
To which I totally would answer that if I wanted to, but I don't feel
I'm
like
just
it right
saying,
now.
it's a trick.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean?
It's a dirty
trick. It's a fucking trick.
So, but like, he's so amazing at these tricks, right? That
Because
he's going on talk shows.
Yeah, we see other examples of him, like, he can memorize credit card numbers, social security numbers, serial numbers.
Forward and backwards. Again, according to his mother, and like, I'm not trying to pick on a little kid here.
Yeah.
But like, that could be memorized.
Right.
Like, I haven't seen a talk show host be like, I'm going to pull this out of a hat.
Exactly.
Or like, really make it seem like it's random.
Because we see one of his friends, right, it's like 11-digit number. Lotan looks at it once and then can recite it forwards and backwards, which is amazing if that's real.
Yeah.
If that's real. Like, if they didn't, like, agree on the number ahead of time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course. I know someone who could spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious forwards and backwards.
Wow.
Yeah. Arthur Lewis from Freestyle Love Supreme. He's
Oh
a
my
genius.
God.
Yeah.
But we learned this condition is called phenomenal memory. Like, there really are people in the world who can do it. Maybe this kid is one of them.
And like, photographic memory is a thing. Like, he might have that. And he might have some of this. I don't think that is totally far-fetched. So 13 years old, he's playing this tournament, and he tells this is the first real big misunderstanding that we hear about from Lotan.
Let me explain it, because I don't know how bridge works, so I'm going to explain it like to the people like me who don't understand how the game actually works.
Do you think I understand bridge? Go call Isaac Mizrahi. Tell him I'm not a dummy.
Well, we learned that he's 13 years old, and like, I guess the game bridge involves some kind of board. You have to use a board for the game?
It holds the cards for the game.
Okay, so he's at the tournament. He goes up to get his board.
I probably took it very quickly because I was excited about the match. We played very well. And then when I took the board, one of the notes, which was on the top, fell on the floor. So I picked it up from the floor. I didn't look. I hold it in my hand. I put the board on the table, and I was sitting on my right hand, which holds the note.
And when he gets the board, some like card falls off. And so Lotan's like, I just picked it up because I just instinctively did. I was going to give it right back to the director of the tournament, but I didn't. So I sat down and started to play. And one of my opponents across the table saw that I was holding a card under the table.
Right.
And called the director of the tournament over.
Totally rats him out.
And then Lotan is saying like, oh, no. I know it looks suspicious, but I didn't look at it. I don't know what was on the card. I just like picked it up and didn't put it back yet, but I was totally going to.
And I didn't say like, oh, here's this thing in my hand. Like, people are thinking, even as a 13-year-old, it's very suspicious that he's playing bridge with one hand while holding this thing in his other hand under the table.
And it's also not clear what kind of advantage this card would give him. Nobody tells us.
It's, again, unnecessarily unclear. But they bring him in front of the ethics board. Let me tell you something about bridge.
Yeah.
They do not fuck around. Everything about it is, they're taking very serious lessons at 11 years old. Like, everything about it seems very no fun.
And this ethics board decides that he was in the wrong, that he was cheating, and they suspend him from the game for 2 years.
Right. 2 years.
Yeah.
So Isaac Mizrahi is here to tell us once again how amazing bridge is. And he goes,
when you watch a really good ballet dancer, it's this fabulous image, a mirage almost, right? And that's what good bridge is. It takes anyone a very long time to kind of grasp the brilliance of the game. Not you, you're not brilliant. The game itself is so fantastic, really.
It takes you a while to grasp the brilliance of game. Not you, you're not brilliant. The game of bridge is brilliant. And I'm like, Isaac, please stop calling me an idiot. If you gave me a chance, I bet I can learn the game.
He also compares bridge to ballet, which is just so gay. It's just so gay, Jillian.
And then he sets his sight on the filmmaker. He goes, do you play bridge? The filmmaker doesn't. He goes, oh my God, you don't?
I know.
Well, you have to learn to play.
Can we also just point out Isaac Mizrahi has no connection to this story? He's literally here for the color commentary. He's the me of this documentary.
He's like a fun, famous person who loves bridge.
Totally.
And who cares about it a lot to sit in front of a documentary. I love that he's here. I'm a fan.
No, I love that he's here too, but every other talking head is like some expert on bridge or some other person who played with all the people involved. Isaac Mizrahi is just like the fun gay guy.
He's there to dumb it down for idiots like me who don't play bridge. Thanks, Isaac. So we get a crash course in bridge, and it's very complicated. It takes decades to master, but apparently there's some old video from the 80s that's going to tell us everything we need to know for the sake of this documentary. I don't understand a word of it.
No, and I was like, I almost texted you because I was like, if I need to know how to play bridge to watch this documentary, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Well, but the thing about it is that you cannot communicate with your partner about the tricks, and that is the most important part.
That's the only thing you have to know. You can only play with a partner, and you play against another two-partner team, and you cannot communicate with your own partner.
But you cannot signal,
No.
you cannot have a conversation, and the
No.
whole point is that you have to be so aware of what other cards are hitting the table, counting those tricks and
Yes.
figuring that out, that you have to trust your partner
Yes.
that they're doing the exact same thing on the level that you are.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. And so after 2 years, he's been banned for 2 years. Lotan's back, baby. He's back.
He's back, and he gets a partner named Ron, and Ron was the only guy available. Ouch.
This guy, Ron.
They met at bridge camp.
They call Ron a schlub in this documentary about 80 times. Ron, like, you know that I go through life only wearing my TCO merch because that's the only, like, that's all the tolerance I have for clothes.
You know, you're saving us a lot in marketing.
I know, but I'm just thinking if Ron Schwartz had merch, he would just be me. He would just wear his own merch all the time.
Don't compare yourself to Ron. I don't really like Ron.
They met when they were kids. Lotan's like, look, I'm not easy to play with.
I remember after one tournament, he told me, I quit. I don't want to play with you anymore. And I needed to apologize. And then we played again. I told him I will never do it again. I did it again, even worse than that. I made him cry a million times.
The first couple of years we were playing together, I just screamed at him all the time.
He goes, I made him cry a million times. Again, it's bridge. You're at bridge camp. But like Lotan is doing this thing that I really don't like when people do it. Like sort of bragging about how mean he was to Ron and about like, I'm so much better than Ron. I'm so much smarter than Ron. So basically he was like bullying and hazing Ron and like breaking him down to make him his perfect bridge partner or whatever. Like, woof. So like over the years, they like work through their hatred, their like mutual hatred, and then become like the best partners in bridge.
But they're like practicing 12 to 15 hours a day.
Like
what bridge.
It's a game. Like
go
it's
outside,
still a card game.
Everybody.
I don't care. Inside, outside. Just it's a game.
It's a game.
It's a card. At its core, it's a card game.
But like at the end of the day, they become like the most famous bridge players in all the world. We are told
they were considered one of the very best partnerships in the world, and they were, you know, in all of the bridge magazines, on the covers of the bridge magazines, and they were famous,
gracing all the covers of all the bridge magazines.
In the bridge world, they're
bridge
the
famous.
top of it, right?
They're bridge-lebrities.
They're bridge-lebrities. There you go. How long did it take you to do that? Check the time.
They're bridge-lebrities over here.
But Lotan is one of those people that is very just like happy to brag about how he's the worst.
Yes.
And he's like, I think I'm the smartest person in the room because I am the smartest person in the room.
Yes.
And like, that's just how it is. And I'm so much better at everything than everyone, especially bridge.
It's so funny because the notes I took on this section says, we hear from all these bitter-ass champions that he was very arrogant.
I know.
Everyone hates it.
Everyone hates him.
Everyone hates this guy.
Especially this Norwegian guy named Boya.
Boya is so cute. I don't know. He's like, if Ryan Phillippe had a slightly uglier brother, it'd be this guy.
Oh my God. He's Norwegian. He's a bridge champion. He's very, very famous. He's been in books.
Yeah. I don't know if he's graced all the covers of all the bridge magazines.
How many
like
do you
Lotan.
think there are?
I'm going to get like 8 to 9.
8 to 9 bridge Well, it is very serious. I keep going back to that.
Look, remember how many Beanie Baby magazines there were? We were shocked about that too.
According to Nancy, there was only one. The best one. I don't know if it was Nancy or not. So Boya hears about Lotan and Ron. And now Boya offers Lotan and Ron to join the team with Boya and his partner. So they could be like the top 4 most unstoppable, the best bridge players ever.
And look, Lotan is over the moon.
I had over the moon too.
He's going to be hobnobbing with Boya.
I had over the moon. I can't believe it.
After 5 years, I finally had an effect on you. I finally have.
What, you think I'm saying over the moon because you say over the moon?
No, I don't know. I'm not trying to claim your genius.
No, I stole that from my mom.
Oh, good.
She always says over the moon. She has all of these like Queensisms. She's a Queens celebrity.
I love your mother.
She's great. So they're best friends and bridge champions. Everything's coming up roses. Everything is like could not be better. All they do is win, win, win no matter
They're
what. That's
winning,
all.
winning. And Lotan is like,
if you're a very good bridge player, you can be pretty rich. You get paid over $2,000 a day. Just playing bridge, travel around.
If you're extremely good, making a 6-figure salary is not that difficult to do, as a professional player. And, the best ones are making $500,000 a year.
The people at the top of their games are making $500,000 a year playing bridge.
So there's a major financial incentive. At 2015, Jimmy Kane calls, to which Lotan says, he called me and he said, hello, it's me, it's Jimmy Kane. And that's how I knew it was Jimmy Kane. To which I say, that's great. Who the hell is Jimmy Kane?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Jimmy Kane was the CEO of Bear Stearns, and he just fucking loved bridge. So he also has a team. This guy Jimmy Kane's worth $1 billion until it all comes crashing down in 2007.
And he still has so much money that he's just bored and he wants to invest in the bridge world.
I know. And meanwhile, while people are losing their houses and people are out of work and homes, we're told while Bear Stearns is burning up, Jimmy Kane was playing bridge.
Priorities.
Just making the time go by.
Priorities.
You know what I mean?
So Jimmy steals Lotan from Boya's team. Everything, you remember, everyone was in love and it was great.
Totally.
He offers him more money, better teammates, a better offer, and Boya is devastated.
But Boya's not mad that Lotan left him. Boya's mad that Boya didn't get the offer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's been second fiddle to Ryan Phillippe his whole life. Now he can't even get the bridge gig.
How many times has he heard that in his life?
You'd be so hot if Ryan Phillippe didn't exist.
Oh my God. And Lotan is ambitious as fuck, so just keep that in mind.
Totally.
So in 2015, there's a big championship in Chicago. 10,000 players, best of the best. You play all day long. It's exhausting.
Can we get some of this newscaster footage where they're like...
Mike Benton live from the 2015 Spin Gold. We've had some intense days here in Chicago, featuring a record number of over 10,000 players and 64 international teams.
We've had a real intense day here in Chicago.
It's bridge.
It's bridge.
It's bridge.
Lotan is so excited, by the way. He's talking about, on the flight on the way there, his heart is pounding. All they can talk about is bridge.
And the thing about bridge is that you sit in silence. The whole point of it is that you can't signal.
I'd be bad at that game.
It's very serious, and you just sit in silence.
When Steve was on Jeopardy 100 years ago, when we were sitting in the audience, Alex Trebek said, under no uncertain terms, we will beat you and drag you out of this building in the audience if you make a sound. Because they're afraid of signaling on Jeopardy, too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, crazy. But Lotan is Lotan is so into it. He's like, this was going to be tough. Everywhere you look, there was going to be champions.
And so, but now, right out of a movie,
I know.
Lotan is going head to head with his best friend turned enemy, Boya.
Yeah, they both make it to the semifinals.
It was like a match to decide who is bigger, LeBron or Michael Jordan. I felt all my body I remember that I looked on myself on the mirror and I shouted, "Showtime, baby. Showtime, baby. Now it's time to prove yourself."
It's showtime, baby, as Lotan says.
He says, I looked at he was so nervous. He did that thing where he spit water on himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's showtime, baby.
Like in Ted Lasso, where she just does she makes herself as big as possible. Only that's the good way to do it.
Totally.
And Lotan is just being creepily aggressive.
And they're this is as big as figuring out who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, right?
But also, who
cares?
You can't it's bridge.
So now something about, I don't know the answer to this.
Yes.
But how scoring works in bridge,
Sure.
they're neck and neck. So the scores are 22 to 29 and then 104 to 107.
This is one of those things where it does seem subjective.
I thought, to me, it's numbers are numbers, right?
It's a card game.
And I was surprised to hear that these numbers could be up for debate. But the point is they are neck and neck the entire time. The game ends after 12 hours.
Yeah.
In silence.
Yes.
Exhausting.
Oh, God.
So they're all waiting for the results. And the gameplay, another thing they do in bridge, every move is out there for the public to see. If you're at these things, so you could see who played what and when and what happened and how many points were given to whoever.
Yes.
The final score.
This is crazy.
The score was 159-158. We lost by 1 imp. There is no smallest margin than that. That happens maybe once in 1,000 matches.
They lose by 1 point, and we are told the scores are never that close. That happens 1 in 1,000 times.
And Lotan appeals.
But can I just say before he appeals, everyone is sobbing.
Yeah.
Grown men, everyone is you see these images of these people, they are hysterical.
Because no matter who you're rooting for, after 12 hours of sitting in silence playing a card game, to lose by 1 point, and that has never happened, it's crazy.
And so Lotan appeals, right? Crazy. But I was thinking, if the scoring is subjective and you losing by 1 point never happens, you'd be an idiot not to appeal.
Sure, but they don't explain how scoring works in this moment.
Yes.
So I assumed, the numbers are the numbers. numbers and you can't argue them.
Yes.
So maybe he wants a recount because it's that close. Like maybe he just really wants a recount.
Yeah.
But apparently he says, we just went to the director about some moves that our opponents made.
Yes.
And we thought that maybe that could change some decision and that maybe that would result in a different ending. And I'm like, wait, what? They don't explain that.
No, when they go to the director, Lotan explains to us.
The appeal committee decided that we were right about some of our arguments. So they decided that we deserve to get 2 points. I couldn't believe it. I just won Boy Brooklyn.
So now it flips.
And they win by 1 point.
Yes.
Now, Ron and Lotan are celebrating and dancing and screaming, and I'm like, isn't that a shitty win?
Uh-huh.
Don't you think?
I mean, a win's a win, but like Boya is super upset.
Like they just won, and it didn't take, like usually you would think like that would take days and weeks like to really go through. It happens very quickly.
Right.
Because Boya won, then they appealed, then he lost, and like by 1:30 in the morning, he's like, fuck this.
I know, but apparently all of the gameplay was like recorded for online.
And not video.
Right.
Just each move, like just the information, the facts. So he's like drunk in his room.
Yeah.
Looking at what happened.
He's like, I'm just going to like go through this. I don't understand how I won and then I lost. I'm just going to go through all the moves that were made.
And he notices like this guy, Ron, Lotan's partner.
There was a hand where it was so clear in my view. And I think that of the top 100 players in the world, at least 99 would have led a heart. But Ron led something else. So that was strange. I said, why is this happening? I know how good a player he is. And that's how it kind of really got started, that we felt that something was astray.
99 out of 100 bridge players would know to do one thing.
Yes.
Ron does the other thing.
Right.
And for some reason, it happened like a 1 in a million chance. It totally made sense for the game.
Right. But Ron would have had no way of knowing that.
Unless they cheated.
Exactly. So like what looks like Ron just made a big stupid mistake doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So they must have been cheating.
Because it works out well for them.
Exactly.
It wasn't a mistake.
Right.
It just this 1 in a million chance like Ron made this good move, but no one in their right mind would have played that card.
And so he goes to the bar in the hotel at like 2 a.m, and everybody there is like, so did you see that moment where Lotan totally cheated you?
Yes.
Everyone's like, you know Lotan's totally a cheater and he totally cheated you. Did you catch that?
Like everyone had independently also seen what Boya just discovered.
Yes.
And so apparently everyone's like, oh, and they do this all the time.
Right.
Like everyone sort of is telling Boya, I'm sorry, are you late to the party?
I
all
know.
they do is cheat. And Boya's like, what?
And to be clear, Lotan is like a world champion, the most famous bridge player ever to live. Then they start showing us YouTube clips of like examples. You know how you're not allowed to communicate at all?
Right.
We see these YouTube clips of Lotan coughing.
Right.
And that's signaling to Ron to do some kind of move.
Or like where he places his water and then he
Yes.
moves it and puts it somewhere else. Like they're saying that he's signaling.
Right.
And so Boya's like, I'm sorry. So you've been cheating and everyone knows about it and
Yes.
no one has said anything and they're just winning championships?
And because what we learn is that
You can't accuse people of cheating unless you can absolutely prove it. Let's say I turn to them and go, you fucking guys are cheating. You think I don't know it? The organizers will immediately ban us from the tournament.
you can't just accuse them of cheating without definitive proof. Because if you do that, then you get kicked out of the game.
Right.
That's how Lotan's been getting away with it.
Exactly. And Boy is like, well, then let's just get the proof. Like,
right, exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
I'll just get the proof because he, according to him, he's like, I'm staring at the proof right now.
Yes.
I'm looking at it and so is everyone in this hotel bar, so let's go.
But the problem he's encountering is you can't prove that a cough is an indicator.
Right.
You can't prove that moving a water bottle is an indicator.
Exactly.
You know?
But Boya doesn't care because he's
Right.
telling everyone that Lotan and Ron have been cheating and they need to be kicked out.
The tournament that Lotan has now just won means he's going to like the finals.
Yeah.
Boya goes to the people playing against him in the finals on a lunch break and are like, he's cheating. You need to quit the tournament right now.
And so, like, there's a video of other players confronting Lotan
Yes.
and saying, like, hey, that hand was pretty weird. Like, can you explain that thought process of why you played that? Because
Yes.
you're such a genius. Like, please teach me.
Yep.
And Lotan can't answer it.
Right.
And they're like, oh, so this fast-thinking genius suddenly doesn't have anything to say. Now, Lotan says something here. Now, I'm not comparing my weird brain to his weird brain.
Sure.
It's not a competition, and he might be a cheater.
Right.
But someone who's neurodivergent, like, it can be very hard to explain how we get from one place to another.
Yes.
Like, it can be incredibly frustrating. And I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I am saying that, like, I know what it's like to have something make complete sense in my brain.
Yeah.
And I understand how I got there. But one, I can't make it make sense to anyone else.
Yeah.
Or I can't articulate it in any clear way. So I understand that that is something that is possible, but I don't know if that's what's happening with Lotan.
Well, and also Lotan's answer is,
there are many things that I cannot explain. And this is one of the problems that people, they can't accept it. Like, why did you do that? Why did you know to do that and I didn't? My intuition made me do that, but this is not an answer that people accept.
I can't answer why I made that choice. And to the person who asked the question, it's like, well, then you're a cheater.
Exactly.
You just prove that you're cheating.
Right.
And Lotan's like, no, I just have this intuition that's just always worked for me.
Right, I'm just so good at this.
But like, to me, when it's something as specific as a card game, you would have some answer. Well, you'd be able to say, look, I played this game enough times to know that in this situation, this kind of thing happens.
Exactly. Because all we hear about Bridge since the beginning is that it takes years to get good at this.
Yes. But the point is, nobody's falling for this intuition thing. They're like, you made a really weird move that no Bridge player would ever make, and it paid off for you, and you can't answer me as to why you did that. You're cheating. You're a cheater.
And also because there have been rumors for years about this.
Right.
Like
exactly.
other stories like that.
Starting from when he was 11 and got kicked out of that tournament and the whole league for 2 years.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, but everyone is talking about this, and everyone wants to take them down because the World Championship game is 2 months away and the clock is ticking.
Yeah, Boya especially. He's leading the charge. He's a man on a mission.
He makes a website about it that is still up, by the way.
Is it still up?
It's called bridgecheaters.com. Go to it. I was on it today. Not a word of it makes sense. Might as well. It's Mandarin. It's Greek. It makes no sense to me.
He's just saying, like, I didn't think about the consequences. I just had to do something. But here's my question about Boya. They don't tell us how long Lotan was playing on Boya's team, but like, Boya would never have noticed if something was happening. My thing is, like, Boya, you're acting as though this guy wasn't on your own personal team for a couple of years.
I don't think it was a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't that long.
It feels like everything happened really quickly, but maybe you're right.
I'm just saying, Boya, it's not like you don't know this guy. It's not like you've never played with this guy late into the night 100 times.
Because the thing this website has formed a community.
Yes.
And so these people are finding a lot of suspicious activity.
I went back and I watched the match against our team, and there were at least 15 hands where weird things happened. It was like, man, you're one of the best players I've seen. You don't need to cheat. Like, well, I don't know why you would do it.
15 times in a game, he made a move that no Bridge player would make.
Unless they were like signaling with a cough or a drink of water or something.
So it's like, exactly. It's like what would be considered a mistake in any other game that happened to work out for him like so weirdly. Happened like 15 times in one game.
And so what they're doing is they're going from the card moves first, and then they're going to branch out and say, okay, well, what happened during this specific card move?
Yes.
On the table? Where was the board? Where was the water? And now they're trying to piece it all together.
But also, like, it just blows up in the news. Vanity Fair, Rolling Stone, they're all
CNBC.
I know, and I'm kind of like, I can't believe I love stories like this. Like, I can't believe I wasn't aware that this was happening.
Missed it.
I know.
2015, what were we doing in 2015?
2015, Daisy was 1. I was doing that.
Okay. You had your hands full.
Yeah, totally.
I totally understand how this did not land on your radar in any way. You had a 1-year-old human to make sure survived every day with you. Got it.
So we jump to a month after the website goes live. Boya gets a cease and desist letter from Lotan. Lotan wants him to stop doing it, and he also wants $1 million.
Right. They used to be friends.
They used to be friends.
But now we're in India at the World Championships, and Boya is arguing with another Bridge player.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, you know what, Boya? Like, you might have a point, but I think it's really shitty that you put all of this online, and I think it's really shitty that you publicly convicted them. And Boya's like, shut up, I don't care. Now you're a cheater.
But see, this is the thing. Part of it is ego on Boya's part, because he thought he was the best Bridge player in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that Boya has a point, but also, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, this guy gets a little bit of power and takes it too far.
Yeah, and now if he were to say, like, this is something that's happening in the Bridge world and we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But what he says a lot is, and it made me really uncomfortable, Boya's just like, I don't care about anything else. We have to get the Israelis.
Yeah.
He says that a lot. It's a very Lotan-specific thing, and it's not like, we have to this is a game of integrity, and we really, if there are 30 people doing this, this in every championship. We got to get to the bottom of it. It's a very Lotan-specific thing.
But then it becomes more later.
Much bigger.
And, he's very frustrated because nobody is really taking him seriously. But then Lotan is hauled in front of the Israeli Special Committee. Israel has a whole special committee about the bridge world.
Because the president of the World Bridge Federation was like, Boya, you have to, there's no proof here. Everyone has to be hauled in front of every board and every committee, and we just have to talk this out.
And the thing is, these committee meetings go on for the next year. It's not like it's settled in one meeting. We come back to meeting after meeting after meeting with these people.
All of these meetings are with really well-known professional expert bridge players and some lawyers.
Yes.
And so they lay out all the accusations.
And one of the lawyers that we meet is Lotan's defense lawyer.
Oh, God.
And so he tells us the story.
These two young players come to me and they say, don't believe anything they are going to read. We didn't cheat. I said, okay, why should I believe you? They said, take us to a lie detector. I said, are you willing to do that? If you're going to fail the lie detector, I would find it very hard to keep on defending you. I said, take us to a lie detector.
Give me a lie detector and I will prove to you that I am innocent of these charges.
And everyone listening to this podcast knows that lie detectors are bullshit anyway.
I mean, lie detectors are bullshit, but we usually say that when people fail. You know what I mean?
I gotta tell you, if I passed a lie detector and it worked in my favor, I'd still say that's great, that's bullshit.
I mean, I think that he's guilty here, but I try to put myself in his shoes for 5 seconds. Imagine he isn't guilty. And the absolute mind-numbing frustration of having no ability, because it's so hard to prove that he's cheating because you can't prove that the water bottle means anything.
Of course.
But you can't prove that he's not cheating because you can't prove that the water bottle...
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So everyone's upset, everyone's frustrated, and no one can really articulate what they're trying to prove in any way.
Exactly. But I will say Ron and Lotan go and get the polygraph, and they fucking pass it.
Right.
And they both pass it.
Right.
Or at least we're told they pass it.
We're told them, yeah. But speaking of Ron, everyone is talking shit about Ron.
Yeah.
Because they're
they call him a schlub.
He's a nitwit, dingbat. But the thing about him...
Nitwit is the meanest. It's just so belittling
I know,
and
it's
dismissive.
so belittling, totally.
You know what I mean?
But the thing that everyone's trying to say in a very... a nitwit. We probably can't say that anymore. I probably
not.
It.
Oh, God.
But the point they're trying to say in a very mean way.
Yeah.
Ron Schwartz was very soft-spoken, almost didn't speak, like a nitwit.
Ron Schwartz is a terrible bridge player. It was just impossible. He was winning all those tournaments.
Ron is not a very good player. And it's weird that that Lotan wanted to team up with him because he would make these bonehead moves and they would still win. Exactly like what we were saying before. Moves that make no sense to any of these bridge professionals. And suddenly this fluke always happens to work in their favor.
And what they're saying is that take all of that away, Ron is just a fucking terrible bridge player.
And they both have a history of cheating.
Right.
Ron and Lotan do. Even Lotan's mother is there's a chance he cheated.
Yeah, 100%. But the point is, because Ron is such a nitwit loser, what they're saying is he's easily manipulable, which is a word I learned from Let the Women Do the Work.
Yes.
Easily manipulable. And Lotan could browbeat him into cheating.
And Lotan admitted that he browbeat Ron to make him into his ideal player and partner.
Early on, in one of his first interviews in the documentary, he's when we finally got on the same page about how to play.
He would make him cry all the time. He would bully him and haze him. And I think he really just got him to lie for him.
Yeah.
And cheat with him.
I love even Lotan's mom was I don't know.
He could have. Looking back at that time when he was 11. Also, I was there when he memorized all those credit card numbers backwards and forwards so he can go on the news.
Also, this whole thing with the polygraph, they took the polygraph and they passed. I just saved you 20 minutes of this documentary.
I know.
20 minutes.
Isaac Mizrahi's back.
I know.
To tell us that, because everyone is talking about all these little things that they say prove they're cheating. And Isaac Mizrahi's back with a story. And he's one time I was playing bridge with the go-to bridge guy from the New York Times. The ultimate New York Times bridge guy.
Apparently there used to be a weekly column on bridge in the New York Times.
Well, it's probably the game, right? Because then the next day, you've seen that in the papers, right? Where you can do the crossword puzzle. You can play bridge in the newspaper and then the next day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe he was that guy.
You're such a nerd.
See, Isaac? Give me a chance.
She did not know how she was going to respond to that,
I had no idea. But I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
But also, Isaac Mizrahi, don't judge me.
Totally.
You're judging a book by its cover, and I thought we don't do that. Totally. You of all people, Isaac.
Exactly.
But he says, so he's playing with the New York Times bridge guy, which I love that it implies that there are multiple people at the New York Times who are pro-bridge people. Right. So Isaac goes,
this one time, we were playing the hand, and I finessed a card in a certain direction. And he literally almost started screaming in the middle of the game. He's like, excuse me, that should not work. And I was like, well, it did. It worked. You know, and you could see his mind just go like that, you know. But I tried something and it worked, which wasn't supposed to work.
This guy started screaming and accusing Isaac Mizrahi of cheating. And he's like, excuse me, that should not work. And Isaac goes, well, excuse me, it did.
Exactly.
And I guess what he's trying to say is like, sometimes it happens.
Right.
But it happens too consistently
Not
with these
15
guys.
times in one game.
In one game. Like the big fluke. Because it should be like a moment where it's like, and then I played this thing and I didn't know how it was going to go and then we won.
Yeah.
But you can't have 30 examples of those.
No. And so like we're back with Boya. And Boya, like the rumors have always been that Lotan is cheating. But everyone's like, Boya, you got to get the evidence. We need that. We need the actual goods.
So for the first time ever at the European Championships, every single game was filmed so that you can watch every move that every person makes.
Which is, I mean, like a cache of evidence if ever there was one.
Right. And this is where Boya says, again, I just want to get the Israelis. It's making me very uncomfortable.
Oh, God.
So there's hours and hours of footage, and all of these nerds are looking through it all, like hundreds of hours. And at one point, some of
dare you?
Which I love, but one of them's like, none of us got paid, by the way.
No.
Because it was like hard to not be paranoid. Is that anything? It's like looking for Bigfoot. You have to keep your wits about you. Is that her?
Well, that's the thing. Like, because they're looking for anything that could be a tell, they're looking for any hand movement. They're looking for any bottle. They're looking for any cough. And I gotta say, we see so many videos of Lotan coughing so violently that he has to stand up and walk away from the table.
Right. And at one point, one of them was like, you know what's weird? This took place in June.
Right.
It was 90 degrees outside. This guy's wearing a scarf to prove how sick he is.
To try to look
I don't know
sick.
about that.
Totally.
And so, like...
But, like, there's so many things that they see. They see people turning cards a certain way, moving water bottles, wiping their shoulders. There's, like, the sniffles, the coughs, the scratches. And it's just, like, it could be something or it could just be not. Like, you're sitting there for 12 hours in silence.
Right. And at one point, Boya gets a phone call from a Swede, as he says it.
There was a Swede with the name of Per-Ola Kulin. Then in the middle of the night, sent me a text message saying that, wow, I know their code.
He discovered their secret code, and it all has to do with the placement of the board.
Which just, like, blew my fucking mind. Because, like, again, remember, these guys looked at, like, thousands of hours. And, like, have you ever done, like, a puzzle where, like, it makes no sense, and then all of a sudden you see it, and it all comes together?
And the thing about Bridge is that all of the rules are really, really specific. And everything is kind of the same in every game. So, like, this board is always supposed to go right in the middle.
So this, again, is the board we were talking about earlier. Like, it's the board you need to play the game.
It's like where the cards go and live and whatever.
And, like, you put your cards in it, and then, like, you pass it to the next person or whatever.
Or something.
Yeah.
I actually went to the website, bridgecheaters.com, to figure it out a little more, like what they say proves that they're cheating, like this formula.
Yes, you're saying, like, this is how Lotan was cheating. This is, like, what the significance of the board is.
This is the secret code that apparently, after hours and hours of looking at the footage.
Yeah.
And it's all about, like, when the board was on the left side, it means this. And if the board is on the right side, it means this.
And Lotan is putting it in those places.
Right.
So when Lotan puts it over here, it means spade.
And then he'd always play a spade when it's in that location. And he'd always play a diamond when it's in this location. And they were able to check this against the actual hands because in Bridge, always you can see who played what when.
Right.
So they're trying to say that this is absolute proof of cheating. At one point, the Swede who cracked the code says, I can convict someone of murder with evidence this good. Because they're saying, like, you actually, like, once you see it, you kind of don't even have to know anything about Bridge.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, when it's on the left, he always plays a diamond. When it's on the right, he always plays this. Like, oh, okay.
And what's so smart about that is that the board is the only constant. Like, a bottle of water, like, it would be weird if he had a bottle of water for every game he ever played. If he had a coughing fit in every game he ever played.
Right.
But the board is always there. So if you can figure out that putting the board here means do this and putting the board here means do that, because it cuts to Lotan, he's like...
Honestly, I can say that it's very easy to believe that we cheated. Let's say I'm not Lotan, and I'm not the one who is in the story, and I hear, like, over and over again, no matter where I go on internet, I read about it. I see people writing that he's a cheater. They put it inside my head. And then I see those kind of videos. I need nothing more than that.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't do this, but, like, it's going to make sense to say that I did.
Well, this one French guy who's an expert goes, finally, we can get rid of those bastards. Everyone is so mad. Like, they are taking it so personally that he's cheating.
The problem is, Lotan is saying it looks bad, but I didn't do it. And it's like, well, but we know when the board was moved, and we know the next move that was made, right?
It's a hell of a coincidence, Lotan, over and over and over again.
But then we get a thing later on that's like, no, it only actually lined up 6 times of the 250 moves that I made.
Right.
So it's like, sometimes when he put it here, he would play a spade. But sometimes when he put the box in the spade position, they would play a different card. They don't get into this enough.
They don't get into it enough. And I do think that Lotan is smart enough and ambitious enough to change up the pattern often enough to be able to say, like, maybe like he did it these 6 times, but maybe there's another 6 times where it was the water bottle.
Yep.
Or another.
Or maybe it's like when I cough, that means hearts, or when I put it on the other side. You know what I mean?
100%. And again, it's one of those things you can't prove it, you can't not prove it, and everyone's just mad.
Exactly.
And again, it's bridge. It's a card game.
Right. They engage this professor from Geneva. He's a professor who deals with like physics and statistics.
Particle physics.
Yeah, and this guy is here to say,
when I looked at the numbers, I told them that I think that the analysis that people did on the case is wrong. I don't think there was enough data to make a fair statistical analysis here. The one that was done was non-kosher. It's thinking.
I'm here to tell you it doesn't mean anything.
And also, just like a counterpoint to that, if I may.
Yeah.
I don't think these guys, these experts and professionals, are saying that they cheated every single game.
Right.
They're just saying that there's a pattern.
Yeah.
So maybe it was 6 times, but cheating is cheating.
Right.
And that's what the professionals and the experts are trying to say.
But this guy wants to die on this hill. This professor is like, they were not cheating. I know it looks bad, but I'm the actual professor of this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's not. He goes and testifies in front of that board or whatever, and he's like screaming about how like they're not cheating.
Well, guess what? The committee doesn't give a shit.
No.
Because they find them guilty and kick them out. They're banned for life.
I gotta say, too, Lotan had just won this big trophy, and when the professor goes to testify in front of this panel, they stop him in the middle of his testimony so some guy can go reclaim the trophy.
Take it away from him.
But it's like this old man that looks like a janitor.
Yeah.
Like
Who knew there was so much theater in Bridge? Somewhere Isaac Mizrahi down on 10th Avenue is going, I did! That's why I love it so much! Could they literally, but also this guy's just like carrying the big trophy around, and they're like, give me that.
This guy's so old he can't even lift. He's like dragging it away.
Get someone else to do it.
I know.
Boya isn't even all that happy about it because they're found guilty and banned for life.
Banned for life.
No coaching, no watching, no playing. Don't even think about bridge.
The watching was like a bridge too far. I was like, these guys can't watch.
A bridge too far. That was really good.
Thank you so much.
But also because maybe they can signal to somebody else.
First I was like, they can't even watch it on TV. Who's going to enforce that?
I know. I mean, let's not go that far.
Right.
But like what Boya is saying is they can't be the only ones, right?
Right.
And they're not.
Exactly. So the thing about Boya is that he becomes a man on a mission. That's how they describe him.
Yeah.
Now that they've figured out this one pattern, they start looking for patterns in the other big-time winners.
Boya becomes a full-time narc.
He does.
He's a full-time bridge narc.
But like sometimes it's possible he could be seeing things that aren't there.
Right. And also because, again, on the other side of it, it is so easy to cheat at this game.
Yes. Right.
You know? And it's sort of like what's real, what's not.
Because when you think about the constants in the game, it's like the board and the cards. And if you can like figure out how to like signal with the boards or signal with the cards, anyone can cheat at the game.
And if you work on it for years, I mean, an arm scratch.
Yeah.
And then in 20 minutes, a cough. And then, you could be a really good cheater at this game.
And the point is, we learned at the beginning that people at the top of the game are making $500,000 a year. There's a big incentive to do it.
Totally. So they ask Isaac Mizrahi why people cheat.
So why did people cheat? Because they couldn't take the rigors of brilliant play. They couldn't take it, I guess. And they're the wrong people. The wrong people cheat at bridge. You just don't want them in the world. You just want them to go away and play their own game.
They don't belong in this world. I think they should just go away. Isaac?
Isaac!
Can't win for losing. I'm with Isaac Mizrahi when it comes to the game of bridge. But here's when things sort of change with Lotan and his relationship to this narc stuff.
Yes.
The players now, it's like in Catch Me If You Can, where Frank Abagnale then helped the government find fake checks.
Totally.
That's what happened because the players are like, Lotan, can you help us find other cheaters?
Yep.
And he agrees.
He does it. And we see video of it.
And he's like, people cheat all the time. And actually, I figured out their codes and I've been using it against them. And then he laughs.
And that is kind of its own brilliance, you know?
Totally.
And we see a video, like Lotan's like, look, I was playing this one tournament like in Mexico or whatever. And I remember the moment I realized this guy was cheating and I was so mad. I like looked over at him. We see the video of it. The guy does a thing that you now know is a tell. He makes the move and Lotan has such a big reaction to it. Like, again, this is a game where you're just sitting quietly.
And like he proved himself right.
Exactly.
Like, he can't believe that worked.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And like, I guess when you're Lotan, that emboldens you. You're like, well, this guy's doing it, then fuck it, I'm going to do it. Then everyone's doing it.
And I think it's not a about, like, it is about winning, but I think he really is just crazy good at bridge. That, like, the next challenge was finding out the other way people were cheating and trying to win at that too.
100%. Because the thing is, I think when you're cheating and that's going to result in you making some insane moves that nobody would ever make, when you see somebody else on the table make a move like that, then you're like, oh shit, they're cheating. How are they cheating?
Now I have another thing to win.
Exactly.
It's another challenge.
Totally.
But the thing is, in light of these scandals, people in Germany and Israel, Poland, and Monaco did not participate in the 2015 Bridge Championship. Sponsors are looking the other way, other professionals, because now people are saying, like, well, we couldn't beat the cheaters, so we had to hire them. This is like a big open secret that, like, no one wants to get their, like, championship ring taken away and the money taken away.
And the people at the top, like the people, like the head of these federations are saying,
we got phone calls and emails from people that said they didn't want to play the game anymore because they were devastated. They flew to foreign countries, they competed for days and days and sweated and tried, and then you find out that the team that you lost to in the finals or semifinals were convicted. It's almost like losing to Lance Armstrong in a bicycle race.
They compare it to riding in the Tour de France with Lance Armstrong?
Well, but it's not a bad comparison because people are saying, remember when Lance Armstrong was like the toast of the town?
Right.
And he was like the greatest athlete of all time and we're celebrating him. And we learned later that he was like doping and it wasn't real. That's what they're saying about these bridge champions. Like we thought they were prodigies and geniuses, but they were just cheating.
And also people who should have won didn't.
Exactly.
And they spent, traveling to Monaco and traveling to all these places. And honestly, this is their whole life.
Yeah.
And it's so serious to them and it means so. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just the truth.
Well, people who weren't cheating started calling us saying they don't want to play bridge anymore.
Right.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Like you're not cheating. There's just so much money to be won and you're putting in so much time and effort and then in the end you lose and then later you learn you lost to the guy that was cheating.
I mean, it's rigged. It's all rigged.
It's all rigged and you can't get the money back. You know what I mean? You can't
or the time
exactly.
and knowing that like, God damn it, I knew I should have won.
Totally.
Like your gut was screaming at you the whole time and then it's heartbreaking.
So at the end of the documentary, we cut to Lotan, who's just like living at home with his mother and playing bridge on the internet.
Under a fake name.
I know.
Usually I play with my own name. Lately, people doesn't like to play against me. So I'm playing sometimes on my friend account. And this is sad, but this is the reality. And I need to face it.
Lotan was so good at this that he's been reduced to playing it online. And he has to play under a fake name because nobody will play with him under his real name.
And he's really, really mad at his partner because the partner's so bad.
The partner's probably me at 1 a.m.
Right. Oh, what's this? I play this for free? Oh, I need my credit card? Okay, I'll just get my credit card.
Steve!
Oh, Steve, I need $500 to get into this bridge game. Okay, great. No, I'm sorry, Steve. Oh, shit, I put in $5,000.
Sorry.
I'm playing bridge for the rest of my life now.
I mean, we watch him in real time doing this like game with his partner.
Mad.
So my partner, he bought the contract and he's going to take responsibility for my cards. And of course, it's better that I will close the computer with what he's doing. And no, it's like sometimes I take it as a nightmare and sometimes I take it just like a comedy. Like you go to, oh my God.
And he's like, I'm not going to get mad. I'm like, oh, damn it. And then it's like, no, it's fine. He's bad, but it's just,
and he's like, I could just like DM him and angrily tell him to leave the table, but I feel like maybe then he'd know it was me.
Right.
So, but also like I Googled bridge cheating scandals have been happening since the 30s.
Oh,
like
is that
this
right?
isn't all that new.
No.
At all. Like it's a scandalous world. Who knew?
In the end, in 2020, because of the pandemic, the bridge championship was held online and Lotan entered under a fake name because he couldn't enter the right way and he won.
First place.
He won first place.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, can you cheat when you're playing on the internet?
That I don't know. I do think he's so good at it that he decided to out-cheat the cheaters and he lost focus of the game.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's because I think he is good at it. It's not surprising to me that he won online.
Yeah.
He just needed to make it more of a challenge for himself and he screwed everybody.
It's just crazy. And then we learned at the end, since March 2020, Boya has accused over 30 top bridge experts of cheating in high-level online tournaments. That sounds like a fucking lot to me.
And among them are 5 world champions.
And all of them no longer play competitive competitive bridge. I'm just saying, Boya, I think, has been given a lot of power here.
Yes.
And like, he seems like he's unchecked. Like, does he have a vendetta against anybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he has a vendetta against everybody.
Right. I mean, honestly.
And again, is it just these people who also are it's a little bit of a mob mentality where they are just like, we got to get them.
Yeah.
Like the French guy was like, we're going to get these bastards finally. So it feels like everyone's looking for stuff to find.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Isaac Mizrahi, you would like me. I would Isaac Mizrahi for like a couple cocktails. That's all I want. You can teach me bridge. I want to learn.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Okay,
you and Isaac Mizrahi would be best friends.
I think we would have a nice time. This is a great table for bridge, the one we're sitting at. Isaac, come anytime.
Anytime, girl.
Cocktails on me.
Oh, girl, we did it. What's it called?
It's called Dirty Tricks.
Dirty Tricks. This was a fun one.
Yeah.
Boy, Ryan Phillippe's less hot younger brother.
You are really going. And speaking of vendettas.
Fam, come to Obsessed Fest. Get a day pass and come to all the daytime programming and or come to the live shows at night.
What if we have a bridge club at Obsessed Fest?
Oh, my God. That'd be so fun.
Can we have like an hour of a bridge? No, I feel like it takes forever.
Yeah, wow. We got a room.
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Rushed bridge.
Speed
bridge.
Also, join us on the Patreon. Over 350 full ad-free bonus apps to download and binge right the second. They get them all at once, girl.
You get them all at once, and it won't like kill your phone.
No.
You just have access to them all at once.
Ad-free versions of these episodes, so much other amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
it's great. Just come hang. Everyone's invited.
What are we doing after this?
Oh, you're going to be so excited.
What is it?
The Real Rebel, the Aaron Brockovich story.
Stop
It's
it!
an ABC News special. 2020 did it.
Oh, my God.
It's about her and the making of the movie and the real Aaron Brockovich and like what happened.
Oh, my
versus
God.
Fiction.
I love Aaron Brock.
They're called boobs, Ed.
I know they're called boobs, Ed. All right, fam, stay tuned for the trailer for that. Our funny and hilarious outtakes.
Yeah.
That's all. We love you.
I can't wait to hear everyone's experience with Bridge. This feels like a documentary where there's going to be a lot of like personal experience in the Facebook group. Can't wait.
All right, we love you guys.
Bye, we love you.
Bye.
She's not afraid of a fight.
Aaron was Rocky in a miniskirt. If Barbie and Wonder Woman were one person.
A rebel, a fearless crusader.
It's worth the fight.
And a single mom.
When I first sat down with Aaron and Elizabeth Brockovich, I wasn't so sure that this story would have a Hollywood ending.
Yeah, we wear our hotness hat with pride here, okay?
It takes a rebel to kick some, well, you know what. And now Thursday night, buckle up for The Real Rebel.
Zotan and his partner had just won
Lotan.
Zotan feels like the thing from Big.
It is, isn't it? Zoltar.
Yeah.
Zoltar.
What's his name?
Lotan.
I'm so bored.
We're partners.
I know. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
See?
I was doing a bit, but I thought you would think it was funny.
I do think it's funny. You keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop each other from doing what we do. There are so many people.
It's just a game, everybody.
Who are new to this podcast
I
who
know.
are just hearing about the Steve thing.
Steve was on Jeopardy. It didn't go great.
It did.
He's so smart. We have to move on.
Team Steve. This one time, I finessed a card in a certain direction.
Isaac!
Is that an official bridge term?
I don't know.
Or did that come from Isaac? I don't know.
It's
I'm
just
thrilled.
like a purse fell out of his mouth the second he said it.
Glittery purse.